how do you feel? Like really, how do you feel? Like, do you feel great? Do you feel like, I feel great for my age? Do you feel, I feel great for this stage of my career? You're just like, I feel great.
I have my moments.
Yep.
Before.
So that's good. You're human. You're human.
I have my moments. But I would say for where I am in my career, the years I've played, the miles I've played, the minutes I've played, the games I've played, I feel great. I feel great.
That's what make him a bad boy and the best that's ever done it. Don't get it twisted. I love LeBron, but No.
Yeah, we got that.
Magic Johnson blasts LeBron. Stop pretending you're GOAT. The basketball world just exploded. This wasn't a critical analyst. This wasn't a random fan on social media. This was Earvin Magic Johnson, a top 5 player of all time, the architect of Showtime, a man whose name is synonymous with the Los Angeles Lakers' legacy. And his target? The man currently wearing the crown in Los Angeles, LeBron James. The accusation was direct, brutal, and cut to the very heart of LeBron's entire career narrative. But why now? What did LeBron say or do that forced Magic, a man known for his dazzling smile and diplomatic tone, to unleash such a devastating public takedown? And in the fallout, another modern legend, Kevin Durant, was watching, and his reaction has poured gasoline on a fire that's threatening to burn down the entire GOAT debate for good. This is the story of a legend's fury, a king's defiance, and a sniper on the sidelines, ready to take his shot. The stage wasn't a courtroom. It was a podcast studio, draped in plush soundproofing and buzzing with the low hum of professional equipment. LeBron James, in town for a road game, sat across from one of the most influential media personalities in sports. The conversation was wide-ranging, as these conversations always are. They talked about fatherhood, about business, about the current state of the league. It was comfortable. It was controlled. Then, the host, leaning in with a knowing smile, asked the question that is always asked, the question about legacy, the question about the mountaintop. LeBron, the host began, his tone casual yet pointed, you're in year 22. The scoring record is yours, the championships, the MVPs, the sheer longevity is unprecedented. When you look in the mirror now, at this point in your career, do you see the culmination of that journey? Do you see the greatest of all time looking back at you? There was a pause, not a long one, but a deliberate one. LeBron leaned back, a faint smile playing on his lips. It wasn't a smirk of arrogance, but one of quiet, hard-earned confidence. The confidence of a man who has heard the debate for 2 decades and has come to settle on his own answer. You know, LeBron started, his voice measured, I've never really run from that conversation. I respect everyone who came before me. MJ, Kareem, Russell, Magic, Bird, giants. They built the house I get to live in. But at this point, he paused again, letting the weight of his next words hang in the air of the studio. At this point, when you look at the complete picture, the body of work on the court, the impact off it.
And so I decided to go with Converse, but Phil Knight came in and he said, I can't offer you the same amount of money as Converse, but I can give you something called stock. And I passed on the stock, not knowing anything about stock at 19 years old.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For
That's
so
what
many
I felt.
reasons.
I was super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. The first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports was going on in Cleveland.
The reaction was not immediate. For about 48 hours, the sports world churned on the take machine of social media and debate shows. Was LeBron right? Was he wrong? Had he finally earned it? It was the same cyclical argument, just with a new definitive quote from the man himself. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, the landscape shifted permanently. Magic Johnson didn't release a long-form essay. He didn't go on a podcast to give a nuanced hour-long breakdown. He used the weapon of the modern era, the unfiltered, rapid-fire social media video. Sitting in what looked like a home office, surrounded by Lakers memorabilia, a subtle but powerful backdrop, Magic addressed the camera. His famous smile was absent. In its place was a stern, almost disappointed expression. "I need to say something, and I need to be clear," Magic began, his voice low and steady, devoid of its usual playful cadence. "I've been watching this GOAT conversation, and especially the latest comments, and I just have to speak my truth. LeBron is one of the greatest players we have ever seen. Top 2, top 3, nobody can deny that. His career is incredible. But this new narrative, this idea that the debate is closed, that he's sitting at the head of the table, I'm sorry, I have a problem with that." He leaned forward slightly, his gaze intensifying. "When we talk about the GOAT, we're not just talking about stats. We're not just talking about longevity. We're talking about domination in your era. We're talking about changing the way the game is played. We're talking about a level of competition that was different. To sit there and pretend like what you're doing now is harder than what we did, to act like the game wasn't just as physical, just as mental, just as demanding, that's where you lose me." Then came the line that would become the headline, the soundbite that shattered the calm. LeBron
6.5 hours to debate this one thing and to settle it. So, Michael Jordan is not the GOAT, it's LeBron James. Why do you think Michael Jordan's the GOAT?
Only one player ever to win the Finals MVP.
In the immediate aftermath of Magic's blast, the basketball world held its breath. This was uncharted territory. How would LeBron respond? Would he clap back? Would his camp release a statement? The silence from LeBron's side was deafening, a strategic vacuum that allowed every other voice to rush in and fill the space. And no voice in modern basketball is more attuned to the frequencies of legacy, perception, and public strife than Kevin Durant's. KD, the ultimate online observer, the player who famously argued with fans from burner accounts, didn't jump in immediately. He let the story marinate for a full day. He watched as the teams formed. Team Magic, praising his courage and old-school respect. Team LeBron, decrying Magic as a bitter former player unable to cede the spotlight. The debate was at a fever pitch, perfectly primed, when Durant decided to engage. He didn't make a video, he didn't give an interview, he used his native language, the subtweet. On his personal account, with his millions of followers hanging on every character, Kevin Durant posted a single, deceptively simple sentence. It was a quote, unattributed, floating in the digital ether. The loudest ones in the room are often the most insecure about their own seat at the table. For a moment, it was cryptic. Was this about Magic? Was this about LeBron? Then, in the replies, as fans scrambled to decode it, Durant liked two specific comments. The first one read, "Magic scared his legacy gets forgotten if he doesn't scream about it." The second one said, "Funny how the people who always talk about their era are the ones who can't handle a new one being better." The message was now crystal clear. Durant had not come to LeBron's defense. This wasn't an alliance. This was an opportunistic strike. He was aligning himself.
The amount of money came from. But I do invest in my body for sure, trying to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Obviously, a lot of soft tissue work, a lot of massages, a lot of hyperbaric chambers, ice tubs, ice baths. Whatever I can do to continue to play at this level, man, I'm going to continue to do what I'm playing.
You've committed your entire life to ball, right? That's safe to say?
Yeah.
And you love the sport. Is that your drive, is how much you love the sport? Or why do you think at this age you're still going as hard as
there's no way I'd be still playing, at this level, Pat, if I wasn't in love with it or didn't commit to it.
I want you to rank these three players.
Okay.
Number one being the best, so on and so forth. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe.
Oh.
How do you rank that?
Right now, I go Michael Jordan was what Marvin Gaye was. Like, he set the...
Right.
The public battlefield fell into a tense, cold silence. LeBron James, a master of media messaging, said absolutely nothing. His social media channels were a curated stream of family moments, business promotions, and workout clips, a pristine digital facade showing a man utterly unbothered. This in itself was a powerful statement. It screamed, "I am above this." It implied that Magic's outburst was beneath his response. But in the absence of his voice, his ecosystem spoke for him. His longtime friend and business partner, Maverick Carter, appeared on a business podcast. When the host inevitably steered the conversation toward the controversy, Carter offered a cool corporate rebuttal. LeBron's focus is on legacy, not labels, he said, choosing his words like a diplomat. He's building institutions, not just collecting opinions. When you're doing the work he's doing, on and off the court, you don't have time to debate people who are stuck in the past. The future is the only conversation that matters. It was a slick, dismissive pivot, framing LeBron as a forward-thinking builder and, by implication, painting his critics as relics. Meanwhile, the fan bases were engaged in all-out digital warfare. The split was generational and brutal. Older fans, those who grew up with Magic and Jordan, rallied behind the Hall of Famer. Comment sections on sports networks were flooded with remarks like, "Magic is 100% right. LeBron is great, but GOAT? Please, he's never had the killer instinct of MJ." And, "Respect your elders. LeBron wants the crown but can't handle the history that comes with it." On the other side, younger fans and LeBron stans launched a counter-assault. They weaponized statistics and modern analytics, posting side-by-side comparisons of longevity and all-around impact. Their taunts were sharp. Magic is just mad his records got.
For me to be able to have that dream, be able to speak it into existence, for it to come to fruition, for my mom and my wife and my daughter and my youngest son to be there, is like, I started thinking about every.
Who's the GOAT? LeBron James. I'm back and forth a lot, but
there's two wrong answers and every other answer's right.
As the public drama raged on, a more insidious problem began to fester behind the famously opaque walls of the Lakers organization. Magic Johnson, despite no longer holding an official front office title, remains a monumental figure within the franchise. His voice carries weight with ownership, with longtime staff, and with a significant portion of the fan base that views him as the true north of Laker greatness. LeBron James, the active superstar, is the present and future engine of the franchise's success and valuation. The public clash between these two titans wasn't just a war of words, it was a civil war for the identity of the most storied franchise in basketball. According to sources close to the situation, the atmosphere at the Lakers' practice facility in El Segundo became palpably tense. It was described as a quiet chill. Support staff, coaches, and even players felt the pressure of having to navigate an invisible line. Do you align with the legend who built the palace, or with the king who currently resides in it? A young player on the roster, speaking anonymously, revealed the awkward reality. You hear stuff, you see the clips, Magic's a god here, LeBron's the guy, you just keep your head down and work. It's not our battle, but you feel the room split without anyone saying a word. The most significant fallout, however, was strategic. The Lakers, a team with glaring roster needs, were approaching a critical point in the season where front office decisions could make or break their championship aspirations. Magic Johnson, with his deep connections and influential opinions, has historically been a voice in those rooms. But now, with a very public and personal rift with the team's best player, his potential to be an effective advocate or recruiter for the Lakers was severely compromised. Why would a player the Lakers might want to trade for or sign in free agency?
LeBron James is special. Why? Because he makes his teammates better. And LeBron James once he learned how to close the games, like as he did with Oklahoma City, we haven't seen the best of LeBron yet.
But what about Kobe? Is he
Kobe?
Now, two more questions because you threw the basketball in there. I can't let you leave like that. Who is the best basketball player of all time to you?
Oh, Michael Jordan. There's no.
Oh my gosh, it's LeBron James, Carrie. Oh, we will talk.
The pressure cooker finally needed a release valve. It came not from a social media post, but from the bright, unforgiving lights of a post-game press conference. The Lakers had just won a hard-fought game against a top-tier opponent. LeBron had been magnificent, posting a triple-double and hitting a crucial step-back three in the final minute. The win was a statement. And as he sat down at the podium, still sweating, the questions immediately veered away from the game and toward the only story anyone wanted to talk about. The first few questions were softballs, trying to lure him in. He deflected, praising his teammates' effort. Then, a veteran reporter cut to the chase. LeBron, it's been over a week since Magic Johnson's comments. This team seems to be playing with a noticeable edge. Is what's happening off the court, this debate about legacy and respect, fueling you in this team right now? LeBron took a long sip of water, placed the bottle down deliberately, and leaned into the microphone. The playful, relaxed demeanor from the podcast was gone. In its place was a focused, almost weary intensity. I'm fueled by my love for this game and my commitment to these guys in that locker room, he began, his voice flat and controlled. My entire career, my motivation has been to master the game, to leave it better than I found it, and to inspire the next generation. That's it. I don't get up in the morning thinking about titles or tables or who thinks what. I think about the work. He paused, letting the corporate speak hang for a moment. Then his tone shifted, growing softer but somehow sharper. But I'll say this, there's a difference between criticism and dismissal. I've welcomed criticism for 22 years. It's made me who I am. But when you've done what I've done for as long as I've done it, in the way that I've done it, you earn the right to stand on your own square. You earn the right to be confident in what you've built. You earn your seat. And nobody, he said, his gaze steady on the reporter, nobody can give that to you, and nobody can take it away. The room was silent. He hadn't mentioned Magic by name. He hadn't yelled or been disrespectful, but the message was a thunderous rebuttal. I've earned my seat. You don't get to tell me where I sit. It was a declaration of sovereignty. He was rejecting the very idea that a previous generation held the keys to his validation. My legacy, he continued, will be what it is. I'm at peace with that. I don't need to close any debates. The work closes the debates. All I'm focused on is the work left to do right now. With that, he took another question about the game plan, effectively ending the discussion on his terms. The response was a masterclass in poised defiance. He hadn't escalated the war, but he hadn't retreated an inch. He reframed the entire controversy as a trivial distraction from his sacred pursuit of the work. In doing so, he painted Magic's blast as noise and positioned himself as the silent, dedicated craftsman. It was a checkmate move that left the ball in no one's court. The debate wasn't over, but LeBron had declared his withdrawal from it. He was, as he said, moving on to the work. The unspoken truth that echoed in that room was clear. The king would no longer entertain challenges to his throne from the retired rulers of the Old Kingdom. He was building his own. So, where does this leave us? The dust hasn't settled. It may never fully settle. What began as a confident answer on a podcast erupted into a